Hello everyone and welcome to the Golden Astrologer video. My name is Deb McBride and I have been an astrologer for over 30 years. And one of the top questions astrologers get is about compatibility in relationships. Now this can be any relationship. It could be with coworkers, bosses, employees, lovers, best friends, family members. And the question is inevitably, well, if I'm this sun sign, such as Sagittarius, what sign goes with Sagittarius or Taurus or Leo or whatever the person happens to be? And while that is a good question, it is a loaded question because it's not just our sun sign we're concerned about, because in our astrological chart, we are not only our sun sign. One of the most important points in your chart is the moon. And in relationship compatibility, one really needs to know one's moon to determine how they're going to get along with others. Now, if you're looking for a relationship, a personal, intimate relationship, the moon is especially important because your emotional needs need to be met with the moon. And that can be told by looking at what sign and house the moon is in. The moon changes sign very quickly. Every couple of days, it moves through the entire zodiac in 28 days. So it's very important to know your birth time, because if you are not aware of your birth time and the moon changes sign that day, well, your moon could be in Libra in the morning, and then, or if you're born in the afternoon, it could be in Scorpio. It's important to know your birth time. So when we look at the moon in a person's chart, the most important thing is to be aware of how it's expressed, what other planets it's speaking to. But the moon itself tells us how we are every day, what our emotional tides are, what it feels like when we're satisfied. Sometimes people with a Virgo moon are satisfied when the spreadsheets are done and all the numbers match. Simple needs. What makes us feel good, how we feel nurtured, how we related to the people that nurtured us early in life, such as our mother. The moon is a very significant piece of information because it's who we are every day. So our mood swings, our feelings, whether we want to acknowledge them or not, how we process our emotions are all governed by the moon. And if you don't have a compatible moon with someone in your life, or their planets and your moon don't get along, this is where the trouble begins, or the lessons are learned. So the moon is important to know because we have to see where we're emotionally compatible and if we can live with people. If my moon and your moon are in a very good place with each other, then we can, work together, live together, be friends, and be close. The sun and the moon are vital pieces of information in your astrological chart. Now, everybody knows their sun sign, but like I mentioned, we don't always know our moon sign right away, and we have to either see an astrologer or look online, or if you have an ephemeris, find out what your moon is. When we look at two compatibility charts, especially if it's going to be a personal, intimate relationship, then we really need to see that the sun and the moon are connecting, because that is a lasting relationship. That means the souls are connecting, the people understand each other, they're willing to work together, they can live together. Now, plenty of people have moons that are not necessarily compatible, but their suns are compatible, or one person's moon is compatible with another person's sun, and so on. When that happens, sometimes their schedules get a little bit mixed up, meaning I'll look at two charts and say, your moons are squared. That's an aspect, that's a challenge. When there's a square between the two moons, for example, these people have to schedule appointments with each other because it's complicated to meet, because their schedules, their everyday experience of themselves is on one schedule or another, and it's hard for them to connect every day. So the important thing is to look at where your moon is and how it's relating to the person you want to consider your partner or your colleague or your business partner or your children. You definitely want to understand your children. And when they have a moon that doesn't necessarily match wits with your chart, it's going to be more work for you to understand them, but you must do it. So it's a challenge, it's a learning experience. And when we're in one-to-one personal relationships, we really do need to understand that moon and what its needs are and how compatible we can be with another person. So let's go through the moons. If you have the moon in Aries, it's a fiery moon. It's a moon that wants instant gratification. It's a moon that's abrupt. It's a moon that is not necessarily patient. It doesn't mean that they won't have children. It doesn't mean that they won't feel that their partner is nurturing them. They just want an answer very quickly. That's an Aries moon. They like to do things in a really direct, speedy way. They're ruled by Mars. They really feel that it has to get done now. It's all about immediacy and expediency. They're not people who are going to stand around and shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what decision I should make. That's not an Aries moon. They're quick, they're smart, and they want to get to the point immediately. When you have a Taurus moon, these people are not quick emotionally and just physically in their day. They're methodical, and they want to make sure that everything's done in a methodical, particular manner. It's an earth sign. It's what we call fixed. They are very, very committed to whomever and whatever they're with. So if you've got an employee with a Taurus moon, they're going to stay for years. They're not going to want to budge. Taurus moons don't like change. And so they like their routine. They like to follow the rules. They like to know where they're going when they get up in the morning. They want to know that their security is intact, because the moon really is about our security as well. And with a Taurus moon, it's doubly concerned with security, because Taurus is about finance and money and the earth and, the growing of plants and nature, etc. It's ruled by the earth. So they like to have relationships. Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so when you have someone with a Taurus moon and they are in a marriage with you and you're married, you can bet they're going to stay. Now, maybe your moon doesn't necessarily jive with the Taurus moon, but that's something that you have to work out with them. And that's what makes the relationship interesting as well. A Gemini moon is a different matter altogether. Gemini moons are quick-witted, snappy. They make jokes. They play practical jokes. They giggle a lot. They are not people who have a lot of patience or a lot of time. The perception is, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And they are ruled by Mercury. So they look at their watch a lot. They tap their hands on the table a lot. They have a lot of nervous energy. And they may not be anxious people, but they want to get up and go. Let's do it. Let's move. So they're definitely compatible with an Aries moon, because it's that instant gratification again. Adjacent signs such as Taurus and Gemini, or Taurus and Aries, don't necessarily rub each other the right way. They tend to grate on each other a little bit. So that's where some compatibility issues can occur. Now with a Gemini moon, it's an air sign. So these people are thinking all the time, and they have a lot of dexterity. They could be doing two things at the same time. They're cooking in the kitchen and they're on the phone at the same time. They've got lots of projects that they do. They have lots of hobbies. They have to have things that keep them entertained and intellectually stimulated on a regular basis. Cancer moons are water signs, of course, and they're very sweet people, and they want to connect with the family and the so-called family, like their friends, their group, whoever is considered family, and they are warm and inviting into the home. They want to nurture you. They want to cook for you. They want to if you're in a relationship with them, they want to cuddle with you, you know? They are a water sign. They want to be satisfied, but they don't always tell you what they need. They kind of expect you to know what they need. Water signs don't speak up, as opposed to the Gemini, again, the adjacent sign. The Gemini knows what they need, intellectually processes their emotions, and tells you, communicates what their needs are. Whereas a Cancer moon feels and feels and feels emotions, but may not necessarily want to put them into words. They may not desire to put them into words. They may not know how to put it in words because it's all about feelings and it's sensitivity. And these are sensitive people. And they're not people who are, you know, they're not people who are abrupt. They take things in. You can hurt their feelings easily. So Cancer and Aries square each other. So an Aries moon is like, come on, what do you want already? And Cancer moon is like, why are you so abrupt with me? Why are you doing that? That's an example of how living with each other can be. You have to get used to each other. A Leo moon is very different. It's fire. We're back in fire again. Leo moons like a lot of attention. And emotionally, they want to be stroked. They want to be praised. They want to feel good about where they are and who's in their life and who's loving them and who adores them. And they're like a big purring pussycat. So they need attention and need a floor to speak on. And they need a lot of affection in many ways when the moon is there. Sometimes with the sun in Leo, it's not that way, but we're talking about the moon. And the moon emotionally is, when it's in Leo, they like to be king, you know? So they have lots of talent. They are extremely creative. They do love children, but they have to sort of be on top in some way. They have to be adored. And if they're not in a relationship, a Leo moon, they're not being adored, then somebody has to adore them. They have to get attention from somewhere. The moon is our primal, visceral need. It's not like the rising sign, which is how we show ourselves to the world. The moon is much more primal than that. It's where we can't help ourselves, you know? So the Aries is going to get impatient. The Gemini moon is going to interrupt the sentence. The Leo moon is going to look for adoration, no matter where it comes from. And then we move into the Virgo moon. The Virgo moon is, like I mentioned, that sometimes they want real practicality in their relationships. They want to know that the person is going to be loyal, that they are, because they're going to be loyal, and that they are, you know, smart, intelligent, and analytical. Because Virgo moons want to talk and think and analyze, and they do it in a much more particular way. A Virgo moon can be critical, certainly of themselves, first of all. I've met many Virgo moons, and the first thing they're doing is criticizing themselves or blaming themselves for something. It's not necessary for them to do that. So hopefully they are with a partner who has a Cancer moon and is going to maybe be very gentle with them and support them. That's what Cancerians like to do, especially the moon, support. But a Virgo moon is excellent at keeping the house tidy. They want a clean environment. So if your moon is in a sloppy sign, maybe a Gemini moon, they're not necessarily going to appreciate that. Gemini and Virgo, again, a little bit rubbing each other the wrong way, a little bit at odds. It's a square relationship. They are both mutable signs. So again, Virgo has many talents. Virgo has lots of abilities and is very particular about how their work is done. They're really good employees, Virgo moons, and they're going to be loyal partners, and they have a sense of what's right and what's wrong. They're very good about that, but they can be nitpicky. Darling, you didn't pick up after yourself when you came home from work. Those kinds of things. If your mother has a Virgo moon, you can bet she ran a tight ship. If your moon's in Libra, it's another air sign, and Libra likes serenity and peace. They want to come home, and the house is beautiful, and it's serene, and it's lovely, and it's maybe a little precious. The moon in Libra wants to come into an environment that's peaceful. They do not want the high level energy of, say, an Aries moon, which is the opposite sign. A Libra moon loves when they come home and there's candles on the table and dinner is made and it's just a lovely conversation and a beautiful experience. They are often artists. They have a very strong sense of aesthetic. They want to spend time in museums. They want to spend time honing their crafts. They want to have balance in their relationships. And sometimes that's not always easy because with a Libra moon, they're looking for this all the time. They're looking for this balance, and it's doesn't always exist in the world of emotions. We come up, remember there's the tides. We come up and we come down. We feel agitated in the morning. We feel sleepy in the afternoon. We feel energized like at dinner time and at night. It varies. So the Libra really likes it balanced all day. They don't like it if you come at them with hysterical emotions. That's just not feeling good for them. So when your partner's got a Libra moon, you have to be aware of that. Don't attack. Talk serenely, gently, peacefully. This is one of the better things you can do with a Libra moon. They are very smart people. And they really do enjoy a lovely conversation about the arts and design and aesthetic. When you have a Scorpio moon, the Scorpio moon is a very interesting place for the moon. So we have things in astrology called exaltations and rulerships and detriments and falls. And the moon is the ruler of Cancer. So it's very comfortable in the sign of Cancer. It's also exalted in a very good place in Taurus. So if you have a moon in Taurus or Cancer, your moon is very good. It doesn't mean your moon isn't good in Gemini or Leo. But when we get to Scorpio, the moon is in a sort of a difficult place. It's opposite where it is in Taurus. So if it likes to be in Taurus, the opposite sign, Scorpio, is not necessarily the moon's favorite place. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean you don't function. It means you function with a Scorpio moon. And this is a very intense place to have the moon. It's very powerful. These people have very powerful emotions. They do not give it all over to you. So if you're in a relationship with a Scorpio moon, they may be passionate and intense, and you can talk about all sorts of deep subjects with them, like the afterlife and deep matters of philosophical understanding and something really profound. They like profound conversations, but they are not going to necessarily tell you everything. They will tell you some of their feelings, and you may know them a lifetime, and you don't know everything about them. And you are surprised to learn things 20 years on into your marriage with a Scorpio moon. It's a very intense place to have the moon. It's not a trusting place to have the moon, but if you have a friend who has a Scorpio moon, their heart is usually in the right place for you, and they're loyal. And that's what's important. They are fixed, so they're going to stick around a long time. But my goodness, if you betray a Scorpio moon, they don't forget it. And I know that Scorpio gets a bit of a bad reputation, and I think the Scorpio sun is that reputation, and it's not fair because the Scorpio moon is really where the emotions are, and Scorpio is most considered in the emotional realm because it is a water sign. Water signs are inevitably more sensitive when we are dealing with the moon. And heavens, if you betray a Scorpio moon, they're just going to pull back and pull in and not necessarily trust you anymore. they can cut people off. But their heart is in a good place many times. They really want to help people, and they make great psychotherapists. They get along well with a Virgo moon. They get along well with a Capricorn moon. It's a complicated place for the moon, but not a bad place. It's just you have to understand it. It's like any moon in any part of the zodiac. And the Scorpio moon will be there for you if you ask them to be. If you really need them, they're there. And so that's a really wonderful quality to have in a friend or in a partner, that Scorpio moon is going to be there. Usually, if you have a marriage to a Scorpio, if you're in a marital relationship with a Scorpio moon, they're going to stick it out. They're going to go through that up and down with you. They're going to go through the transformation. And that's what it's about for them. It's transformation. They do feel very, very deeply. So you need to respect that. And they can get their feelings hurt because, again, it's a water sign. So be careful with that. They don't deserve a lot of the bad reputation they get, but they are very intense people, and they're very passionate people. And without them, we wouldn't have some beautiful, incredible art that we have in the world. Then we have the Sagittarius moon. These people find comfort by jumping on an airplane and going someplace they've never been before. Hey, let's go to New Zealand. Let's get on the plane and go to Florence this afternoon. We have time. And so a Sagittarius moon wants a sense of adventure, emotional adventure. If they get bored, they're not going to stick around. They're mutable. They're fast. They're fire. They also love philosophy and deep conversations, but they really love people from other cultures and other lands. They want to meet people with different thoughts than they have. They're different philosophies, different ways of looking at the world. They are very fair and just, like a Libra moon. So Libra and Sagittarius moons do get along. Again, it's not adjacent. It's 2 signs over. That works. So Libra is very just. They want to know that the justice system is working. So does Sagittarius moon. They want to make sure that everything, the ducks are in order, and that the world is turning and there's karma, and that the world is round. And if someone's done something wrong, that they are going to pay for it. That is up to their solo opinion, though. What Sagittarius may feel as far as their moon goes is they are a bit changeable because they're mutable, but they also have an opinion about what is just and what's not necessarily just. And that opinion may be very different from the rest of the world. They are very fortunate people, and they can be a little bit brash and a little bit fiery, but generally they can be jolly people. They can be happy, funny, fun to be around people who like to party, and you'll be amazed at how fortunate they are because they'll just skip by on, they'll just skin by. And it's amazing what they can get away with, and it's amazing what they know they can get away with. These are the people that are going to rush their green at the light. These are the people that are going to push that, like, okay, it's yellow, the light's turning yellow, I'm going to go for it, and put their foot on the brake. They take risks. A Sagittarius moon takes risks. If you don't want a person in your personal life who takes risks and you want to live with them every day, just be aware that this is that kind of person. And that's something you're going to have to contend with. Capricorn moons are also very interesting. They are the opposite of Cancer. And if the moon rules Cancer, the moon isn't most comfortable in Capricorn. But these people are highly industrious, highly supportive, and they get the job done. And they know their way around finance. They know their way around the helping professions. They know their way around a lot of business-oriented matters, and it just comes to them very naturally. They might be a little bit impatient. They are cardinal, like Aries. They might be a little bit impatient because they want things done. They want the job done. They may not be the most sensitive Whereas, Cancer is very sensitive and patient. Capricorn is going to establish boundaries, maybe be a little judgmental. They're going to press it. They're going to press the buttons. They're going to be very sure and confident of what they do. And a Capricorn moon has high expectations of themselves, and they have high expectations of others. So again, what satisfies them is, there's a roof over the head, business is going well, we have to keep things moving, and it's an emotionally not insensitive, but a sign with high expectations. It's ruled by Saturn. They're very serious people. You may not see these people being silly. That's not necessarily, they don't want to look ridiculous, not necessarily their cup of tea, but they'll get the job done. And they want an important position. They're great entrepreneurs. Aquarius moon is very interesting because they are ruled by Uranus. And Aquarius moon, you kind of don't know where they're coming from. It's an air sign, and it's the most far out air sign. Aquarius moons are naturally independent, naturally need a lot of freedom, naturally want you to respect their freedom and independence and not be clingy and needy. Aquarius moons don't deal with that. If you are dealing with an Aquarius moon, you should know that they're highly intelligent, that their mind works very quickly, and it's going all the time. It's another air sign moon. And their moon is processing information, processes their emotions in an analytical way, but also their stream of consciousness is extremely fast. And emotionally, they will pass through several layers of information very quickly. So they're not foolish people at all. They may be a little offbeat and eccentric. If you like that, then that's the person for you. Having an Aquarius moon in your life, there are people who enjoy that eccentricity and sort of things that are a little exotic, a little interesting. If you want to capture the attention of an Aquarius moon, be independent. Don't be falling all over them. Be a little indifferent. They're cool. They're chilly sometimes. They are, they're a little bit indignant where, you'll say, oh, hey, I thought you were going on vacation this month. And like, what made you, well, no, we canceled that. And it's like, you had no idea that they canceled that, but they act like you know everything the way they know everything. And they think they know everything. So don't ever tell an Aquarius moon what to do. That's the number one rule. You cannot control them. They will not like it. So make sure that your Aquarius moon is happy and satisfied with information, with a little goofiness, with eccentricities and deep subjects. They like to read. They like to think about things that are not of this earth. They also can be very practical in that they're highly analytical. So they're great in math and science. So you're going to get an Aquarius moon that's either highly developed in the science world or their interests are otherworldly. And so there may be, and sometimes there's a crossover between those things. And then there's lastly Pisces moons, and it's feelings, emotions, sensitivity, psychic awareness. Pisces moons know things before they happen. Pisces moons know what's going on with you. They're going to call you up and say, are you okay? And it's like you were just having a meltdown. And they're like, I knew something was wrong. I've been thinking about you. And they sense and they feel and they emote. And they are the most emotional and the most sensitive of all the moons. Because imagine you're having the moon in Pisces and it's all water and it's all Neptune. It's all sensitivity. It's they can travel into another realm emotionally within a matter of minutes. So they go from here to there, and you're talking and having a conversation, and they're also a dual sign. They're also mutable. So you're at lunch with a Pisces moon, and they're listening, but they're someplace else as well. They've developed their sixth sense. They're observing the room. They're feeling. They're sensing. It's an amazing thing to observe with the moon. You want to be careful with the Pisces moon. Again, they get their feelings hurt. They're not going to necessarily clam up, but they might not tell you what it was because there's no words for them. It's all a sense, it's all a feeling. They're going to know things about you that you are not necessarily wanting to share. So just be aware of that if you're dealing with a Pisces moon, that you are very much in a place where, you know, secrets can be revealed. They're very lovely people. They are completely empathic people. They feel for the downtrodden. They feel for everything, and they feel everything, and they take stuff on. So it's important to not, if you have a Pisces moon, to not absorb everything in the environment. And you should know that your Pisces moon spouse might be absorbing everything in the environment and come home brokenhearted because, you know, so they heard a sad story, or they feel bad for a colleague, or they, you know, they feel bad for the cats, anything like that. So that's where the moons are. Now, when you are looking at your astrological chart and your partner's astrological chart or your mother's astrological chart, or thinking about forming a business with someone, look at the moon. The moon is very significant. And if the moons don't necessarily jive, or the moons have complicated aspects to them, for example, from the outer planets, remember that that's going to color the emotional depth of the person. Now, when you are looking at your compatibility, it's going to be really good if you have, say, the moon and the sun conjunct with that person. So it's your sun on their moon. That's excellent. If vice versa, their sun on your moon, excellent. The moon and the sun are compatible in a variety of different ways in the astrology charts. Or the moons are in the same sign. If you both have the moon in the same sign, that's an amazing thing. You're going to really understand each other. There are other considerations when you're looking at the chart. It isn't always about totally the moon, because there may be other factors that affect it, like the aspects to the moon and the aspects you have between the charts, which I will discuss in other videos at a later time. But I wanted to start relationship videos with the moon because it is so important and so vital. Your needs need to be met. Your emotional needs need to be met when you are in a relationship, a personal, intimate relationship. When you go to work, you can at least navigate things a little better when you know things about the moon or another person's moon. You know what your boss is going to like if you know their moon. And so it tells you a lot about a person. It tells you a lot about the relationship you have with a person when you know everyone's moon. And that's it for now. I thank you for listening and watching, and stay tuned for more astrology videos through the Golden Astrologer.